We are on My Sweet Audrina, Part 3 of Second Life. "What are you doing?" called Vera, as much in the manner of a very young child. I began to back up the stairs without standing up. "Aren't you a bit old for such childish behavior? Really, Audrina, you don't change at all, do you?" Striding into the foyer, Vera hardly appeared to limp. But when I checked, I saw that the left sole of her high-heeled shoes was an inch thicker than the right sole. Gracefully, she approached the stairs. "I stopped off in the village, and they told me you really did marry Arden Lowe. I never thought you'd ever be adult enough to marry anyone. Congratulations to him, the fool, and my best wishes to you, the bride who should have known better." The trouble was, what she said could very well be true. "Aren't you glad to see me? Your mother's dead." How cruelly I said that, as if I really wanted to even the score and dish out the pain. "Really, Audrina, I know that." Her dark eyes were cold as she looked me up and down, telling me in her own silent, eloquent way that I was no competition for her. "Unlike you, sweet Audrina, I have friends in the village who keep me posted as to what goes on here. I wish I could say I was sorry, but I can't. Elizabeth Whitefern was never a real mother to me, was she? Your mother was kinder." She turned around slowly and exhaled a long withheld breath. "Wow, would you look at this place? Like a palace. Who would have ever thought dear Papa would be idiot enough to fix up an old house like this? He could have bought 2 new ones for what it cost to restore this monstrosity." Standing midway up the stairs, I tried to regain some lost composure. "Did you come back for some reason?" "Aren't you happy to see me?" Smiling, she cocked her head to one side and scanned over me again, then laughed. "No, I can tell you aren't." "Are you still afraid of me, Audrina? Afraid your boy husband might find a real woman twice as appealing as a modest, shy bride who can't really give him any pleasure? Just looking at you in that white dress tells me you haven't changed. It's November, little girl, winter time, the season for bright colors, parties, good cheer, and holidays, and you wear a white dress." Mockingly, she laughed again. "Don't tell me your husband is no lover at all, and you're still Papa's pure little darling." "It's a wool dress, Vera. The color is called winter white. It's an expensive dress that Arden selected for me himself. He likes me to wear white." "Of course he does," she said, more mockingly. "He indulges your need to stay a sweet little girl. Poor Audrina, the sweet and the chaste. Audrina the pure and the virginal. Dear Audrina, the obedient little daughter, darling, who can do no wrong." "What do you want, Vera?" I asked, feeling very cold. I sensed danger, felt Vera's threat. I wanted to order her out of the house. "Go, leave me alone. Give me time to grow up, to find the woman that's hidden somewhere in me." "I've come home for Thanksgiving," said Vera, smoothly, in that same sexy voice she must have copied from someone she admired, as she tried once to talk like a TV actress. "And if you're nice to me, really nice, as a family member should be, then I'll stay for Christmas." "It's really not very hospitable of you to keep me standing in the foyer while my bags are on the porch. Where's Arden? He can carry in my luggage." "My husband is working, Vera, and you can bring in your own bags. Papa won't be happy to see you. I suppose you must know that." "Yes, Audrina, I know that, but I want to see Papa. He owes me a great deal, and I intend to have what belongs to my mother and what belongs to me." A small scuttling sound made me look toward the back hall to see Billy shoveling along on her little red dolly cart, as if she'd seen a mouse. Vera jumped backwards and nearly lost her footing because of that thick sole. Her gloved hand reached to smother her cry, her other hand stretched forward as if to ward off contamination. I watched her struggle to gain her composure as a small half-woman, twice as old and 3 times as beautiful as Vera, looked at her appraisingly and with a great deal of self-composure. I admired Billy for holding her own. Then, to my amazement, Vera smiled brilliantly at my mother-in-law. "Oh, of course, how could I have forgotten? Billy Lowe. How are you, Miss Lowe?" Cheerfully, Billy greeted Vera. "Hello. You're Vera, aren't you? How beautiful you look. How nice you've come home for the holidays. You're just in time for lunch. Your old room is clean, and all I have to do is put on fresh linens, and you'll feel right at home." While looking upward to give me a special warm smile. "Well, Audrina, that itchy nose of yours really did herald a visitor after all." "Do you live here, too?" asked Vera, rather taken aback. Someone in the village didn't know everything that went on in Whiteford. "Oh, yes," gushed Billy. "This is the most wonderful house I've ever been lucky enough to call home. Damien has been absolutely marvelous to me. He's given me the rooms that used to belong to—" Here she hesitated, and looking a bit embarrassed. "Your mother?" Her appealing look at Vera touched my heart. At first I thought it was wrong to take such a grand suite of rooms when Audrina might want them, but Audrina hasn't said a word to make me feel I'm up unsurprising anyone's place. What's more, Damien carried over all my things I wanted from the cottage himself, and did that the very day Arden and Audrina eloped. Billy gave me another loving smile. "Come, darling, it's time for lunch. Sylvia's ready at the table. There's plenty for all of us." "Help me bring in my luggage, Audrina," said Vera. abruptly turning to head toward the porch as if tired of responding to all the warmth and good cheer Billy showed her. "I'll be leaving in a few weeks, so you don't have to look so bothered. I don't want your husband." "Because you have your own?" I asked hopefully. Laughing, she half turned to grin at me with Papa's own cunning. "You'd like that, wouldn't you? But no, I don't have my own. Lamar Rinsdale was a miserable failure who took the easy way out once things got rough. What a coward he proved to be. No talent at all when she took him away from the provinces. Do you still play the piano?" "No, I didn't practice on the piano anymore. There was too much to do. But as I helped Vera bring in her 3 bags, carrying 2 while she carried 1, I vowed that when I had the time, I'd find another music teacher and pick up where I left off. Vera, I'd like to hear more about Lamar Rinsdale. He was very kind to me, and I'm sorry he's dead." "Later," said Vera. "After we eat. We'll have a nice long talk while we wait for Papa to come home and rejoice at seeing me again." On the way to her room, we found Sylvia riding Billy's cart, shoveling along with some expertise. "Sylvia, take Billy's cart back to the kitchen. You have no right to use it, even when she isn't. Any moment she may want to hop down and her cart won't be there." I reached to pull Sylvia from the dolly. If there was one thing that made Sylvia stubborn and hateful, it was taking for her that little red cart she wanted for her own. "Good God!" exclaimed Vera, staring at Sylvia as if it was some creature in the zoo. "Why waste your breath on that idiot? Why not just shove her off and be done with it? Sylvia is not as retarded as Papa led us to believe. Bit by bit, she's learning to talk." For some reason, Vera turned to stare at Sylvia with narrowed, suspicious eyes. "God almighty, this house is full of freaks, a legless woman and a stammering moron. As long as you're in this house, you will not refer to Sylvia as a moron, idiot, or freak, and you will treat Billy with the respect due her, or else I'm sure that Papa will kick you out, and if he doesn't, then I will." Appearing surprised, Vera smiled weakly, then turned her back and strode on into her old room to unpack. I was silent at lunch as Billy did her best to welcome Vera home. Vera looked sophisticated in the lovely beige knit dress she changed into. The soft color flattered her complexion, which seemed not as sallow as it had once been. Her makeup was expertly applied, and her hair styled to perfection, while mine was wind-blown and wild appearing. My nails were short and unpolished, since I had to help Billy with the housekeeping. Every one of my imperfections rose up like mountains as I stared at Vera. "I'm sorry about your mother, Vera," said Billy. "I hope you don't mind if Audrina told me all about that. She's like my own daughter, the one I always wanted to have." Gratefully, I smiled, happy she wasn't going to abandon me for Vera, who seemed to have become the epitome to glamour. I knew Billy admired all that Vera now presented. Pretty clothes, long polished nails, and the kind of jewelry Vera wore. That's when I realized it was my mother's jewelry. My aunt's jewelry she was wearing. The stolen jewelry. Jewelry that she took off and stashed somewhere before Papa and I come home. Papa and my husband came home together. We were seated in the Roman rival room. The sun had just settled down behind the horizon, leaving a bloody trail of black fire clouds, when Papa threw open the door and strode inside with Arden at his heels. Papa was talking. "Damn, Arden, how the hell can you forget when you make notes? Do you realize your mistakes are going to lose several good clients? You have to list all the stocks each client owns and call them when dramatic changes occur, or better, before they occur. Anticipate, boy, anticipate." That's when Papa saw Vera. He stopped in the middle of another casting remark and stared at Vera with loathing. "What the devil are you doing here?" Billy winced. Papa had disappointed her. Arden threw Vera an uneasy glance, then came to kiss my cheek before he settled on the sofa beside me, putting his arm around my shoulders. "Are you all right?" he whispered. "You look so pale." I didn't answer, though I did snuggle closer to him, feeling safer with his arm about me. Vera stood up. With her high heels on, she was still about 5 inches shorter than Papa, but on those stilts she managed to look formidable even so. In the corner of the large room, Sylvia squatted down her heels and rolled her head about idiotically, as if she were deliberately going to undo all the progress we both struggled to achieve. "I had to come home, Papa, to see my mother's grave," said Vera in a small voice of apology. "A friend called and told me when she died, and I cried all night and really wanted to come home for a funeral, but I was on duty and couldn't get off until now. I'm a registered nurse now. Also, I didn't have enough money to get down here, and I knew you wouldn't send me the money to come. It comes as such a shock when someone healthy dies in an accident. That same friend sent me the newspaper obituary. It arrived on the day of her funeral." She smiled then, tilting her head to one side in a charming manner, separating her feet so she stood staunchly with her arms akimbo. Suddenly she appeared not so sweet, but defiant, masculine, taking up almost as much space as Papa did when he spread his legs wide and prepared himself for assault. Papa grunted and glared at her. He seemed to recognize her challenge. "When will you be leaving?" "Soon," said Vera, casting down her eyes, gone dove-like and demure as he tried not to appear hurt. But her feet stayed apart, and that betrayed her put-on expression of meekness. I felt I owed it to my mother to come home as soon as I could. Arden leaned forward to better watch her expression, dragging me along with him as he forgot his arm about me. I don't want you in my house, snapped Papa. I know what went on here before you left. Oh, dear God. Vera threw Arden a nervous warning look. Immediately, I pulled free from Arden's casual embrace and moved to the far side of the sofa. Nope, I tried to tell myself Vera was deliberately trying to involve Arden and ruin my marriage. But Arden looked guilty. I felt my heart crack. All along, he claimed I was the only one he loved, and Vera must have told the truth a long time ago about sleeping with Arden. Papa, appealed Vera in her seductive, throaty voice, I've made my mistakes. Forgive me for not being what I should have been. I've always wanted to win your approval and be what you wanted, but nobody told me anything. I didn't know what Mr. Rinsdale wanted when he kissed me and started petting. He seduced me, Papa. She sobbed as if with shame and bowed her smooth cap of shining orangey hair. I came back to pay my respects at my mother's grave, spend Thanksgiving Day with the only family I had to renew our family ties, and I also come to collect what valuables my mother had left me. Again, Papa grunted. Your mother had nothing of value to leave you after you ran away from here and stole what jewelry she had and what jewelry my wife left Audrina. Thanksgiving Day is a week away. Pay your respects at your mother's grave today and leave tomorrow. Damien, said Billy reprimandingly, is that any way to talk to your own niece? It's exactly the way I talk to this one, stormed Papa. Don't ever call me Papa again, Vera. He glanced down at Billy. It's our night out of town. Have you forgotten? The movies, after dinner in a good restaurant. Why aren't you dressed and ready to go?